Keely Reason here, owner of Love Hope Adventure, where I talk about the marriage relationship, intimacy in marriage, and how you can go deeper with your spouse. And today I'm giving you some tips about breast sex. What is it? How to do it? All the details you need. This was a question that a reader had for me. Okay, so what is breast sex? This is when a husband puts his penis between a wife's breasts, and she generally squeezes them together to create a tunnel or friction for the husband to be stimulated when one or both of them is moving. So that is breast sex in a nutshell. This is a way for a husband to be stimulated either to orgasm or for foreplay ahead of other things that lead to orgasm. Now, does that mean that it's not exciting for the wife or can't be enhanced? No, of course not. There's always ways that you can take something that you're doing with your spouse and make it more enjoyable for you both. So it never has to just be one-sided. However, if it is one-sided for the husband, I highly encourage him to make sure that he has met his wife's needs ahead of this or after this act. Okay, so how do you do breast sex? The first thing I recommend is picking a position. What position are we going to get in? We want it to be comfortable and doable for both. One position could be a wife lays on her back and then she squeezes her breasts together. The husband will straddle her and put his penis between her breasts. This works assuming the husband can hold himself up enough that he doesn't put too much pressure on the wife. It's very important that you're not crushing her during this, because where you're straddling is going to be her ribs. This is not the same kind of straddling if you were having sex with her. Okay, if that's not doable, then the husband needs to sit down. He can sit down on the bed with his back against the wall, or maybe on the edge of the bed or a chair. The wife will then kneel down and get on top of his penis and put her breasts around it. So depending on her flexibility, height differences, whatever, him sitting on the bed with his feet out might work. If not, he can sit on a chair or on the bed, and then she gets on the floor on her knees. So obviously we need to make sure that the wife can reach and that she's not being crushed. Okay, depending on the position you chose, the wife may or may not be able to move. In that case, the husband will need to move in order to be stimulated. Again, a lot of communication needs to happen, because if she is uncomfortable or it's too much for her because of pressure on her chest or whatever, obviously readjust. You don't have to stay in the same position you start with anytime you're trying something new. It's important to move around because you might find that one position or another feels better anyways. So don't think it has to be the same from start to finish. Okay, tip number 2, use lubrication. Pick lube, whatever you like to use, whatever you feel most comfortable about. A lot of couples like coconut oil because it's natural and it smells nice and it is also edible. Other couples like to use a lube that is either water-based or whatever that formula is. Make sure that the wife does not have a reaction to it on her skin. You want to make sure you're using lube that is meant for skin. Okay, use lube. You can put it on the wife's breast and chest and on the husband's penis. This is going to create less friction and help it to glide more. So that's going to be better for the wife too, as well as great for the husband. Depending on how long you do this, you might want to reapply some more lubrication. Kind of depends on if you're drying out, and if it becomes uncomfortable for somebody, then add more. Okay, the next thing I recommend is if you're going to enhance this for the wife in some way. So maybe she's using, maybe you're stimulating nipples. The husband can possibly stimulate her nipples for her during this, or maybe she can stimulate her own nipples. She can use a vibrator. There are these kinds of vibrators called the We-Vibe, and they're kind of U-shaped so that they go inside of the vagina and clip onto the clitoris. This can be stimulating. It's kind of like a hands-free stimulation, or possibly using a vibrator that she can put inside of her. This will help her feel stimulated during this as well. It might not be enough to bring her to orgasm, but at least she is being stimulated visually, watching her husband, and physically through her nipples and or her vagina. All right, and then the last tip is have a plan for cleanup. This isn't really something you're just gonna do and roll over and go to sleep. What's the cleanup plan? Are you wearing a condom so that semen doesn't get everywhere? Even if you do that and you've got the lube on you, this is still going to create a sticky situation for both of you, especially her. She's going to have to deal with this. So make sure there's a plan for cleanup. Is she going to shower? Do you have wet washcloths next to you? What are you going to do? This is definitely the kind of thing that's going to require a little bit of planning. So go get the wet washcloths. Maybe put a towel across her chest so that it catches most of it. Somewhere wherever the ejaculation's going out. Kind of work that out in advance as much as you can. And the more you do it, the more you're going to get the hang of what kind of cleanup you're dealing with. Guys, thanks so much for joining me today. I hope to talk with you later.